Hey everyone, it's Amanda, also known as Lundberger, and I am a caster for the Pokemon Go competitive scene, which pretty much means that I am addicted to the game. I recognize, however, not everyone else is, but if you are a person who is kind of wondering what is going on not only in Pokemon Go, but in all of the Pokemon umbrella, I got you covered. For Pokemon Go specifically, there is no better time than the present to start playing. For one, if you're more of a casual player, Dynamax has just been introduced, which brings a whole new element of both battling and collecting. Additionally, there is the Psychic Spectacular event that has just started, so you can get a paid research where you can go ahead and get some extra additional items in the game. There's also going to be additional Stardust and potential additional candy, as well as XL candies for nice throws and even better, so yeah, I want candy. In this event, we're also getting 3 new Pokemon introduced to the game: Hatenna, Hatterene, and Hatterena. As far as Pokemon Go PvP is concerned, there's honestly never been a more interesting time to play. The new max out meta is crazy. It's so different than anything we've had before. There's new charge moves, there's a new 50-second timer swap, and check out this top 12 usage from the first competitive event in Baltimore. Are you looking at this? This day 2 usage, there's a Dunsparce, a Galarian Moltres, and an Arctibax in the top 12 usage of our top competitors. Wadaj also came out of his 7-month hibernation to win the first event of the season, not only this year, he did it in the past year before. He, Elite, and Elam rounded out the top 3 with very unique teams that will be interesting to see how they will progress throughout this competitive season. So that's basically it for this week for Pokemon Go, but as we're all aware, it's not the only Pokemon competitive game. We're gonna go kick it on over to Unite, where we see what is going on in that game this week.
All right, let me tell you a little bit about what has happened in Pokemon Unite this week. Well, I guess first things first, this little guy dropped. Armarouge just came to the game. It is our newest attacker making its way to Pokemon Unite, and it's actually a pretty amazing release. Between Armarouge and a recent balance patch, we've actually had a lot of exciting stuff for Unite. We get balance patches pretty often. I would say about once a month we have kind of a big one, and then we have a smaller one fixing a few things, changing a few things outside of that. This patch is called Hyper Voltage, and Hyper Voltage sees the rise of Pikachu, as well as a rework for a Pokemon, Sylveon's Hyper Voice. Hyper Voice used to be kind of this narrow cone that hit enemies with a lot of damage, and now it's much wider and it's much more focused on debuffing opponents. Basically what has happened is we have a new attacker, which is really cool. An attacker is a ranged Pokemon that does a lot of damage if you are not familiar, and that has been really exciting on top of a balance patch that's been exciting. Oh, and I guess I should mention there's a new season in the game, there is a new battle pass in the game, there are price changes in the game, which has actually been maybe not the most exciting thing, but prices for certain items inside Pokemon Unite have gone up. The Battle Pass price has gone up. New Pokemon prices have gone up, while discount codes and coupons have been given to players to sort of offset these costs. It's a really interesting time for Unite because we're getting more releases faster than we have throughout the entire year. We have the Championship Series coming up very, very soon. Oh, and I should mention, these little guys here, EX Pokemon, are gone. So the Pokemon like Miraidon, Mewtwo, and Zacian, they are all still in the game. However, their EX classification has been removed and they've been balanced with the rest of the roster, meaning you will see these in competitive play, and these Pokemon are no longer these overpowered things that you will get upset at your enemies for playing and your allies for not picking. There you go. It's been quite a week for Pokemon Unite. Jake, your resident content cowboy, saying goodbye. And that's the end of my segment.
Hi Pokemon fans, I'm Shai Burton, a Pokemon TCG caster. And today we're going to take a quick look at what's been going on in the Pokemon TCG last week. Baltimore Regionals just wrapped up, and it was won by a deck that no one really saw coming. Although the tail of the tape has to be Teal'c Ogerpon, dominating the metagame, taking up over 30% of the day 1 meta. We did see Charizard EX coming through strong though, with a 14% meta share too, including around 4 win on stream and around 7 win on stream too. However, round 9 is where we would start to get a glimpse into how Baltimore would wrap up. with a swift 2-0 victory for Ari playing Gardevoir EX. A deck that, while is strong, it didn't have the greatest of showings at the Pokemon World Championships just a month ago. This would be a similar occurrence in the top 8A match, where we saw Henry Chow win against Rowan, the Hartford 2023 regional champion. And Henry would steamroll his way to the final, where he toppled Kieran and his Lugia V-Star deck 2-0. And to be fair, Henry's take on Gardevoir EX was quite a new one, not something we've seen before. And it's something I'm intrigued about, to see whether it will continue its success into the Stellar Crown format. Because we've got a new set to get our hands on in the Pokemon TCG, and I cannot wait to see how the metagame develops.
Hey everyone, Rosemary Kelley here, one of the VG casters, to give you a breakdown of what has been happening in the video game universe. We just kicked off our 2025 Pokemon regional season at the Baltimore Regional Championships, and this particular event was so exciting because it was the first showcase of our brand new rule set, Regulation H. This is sort of a reset for the final, or what is potentially the final competitive year of Scarlet and Violet, where it's going just back to basics. There's no Paradox Pokemon, no legendaries that are allowed either, and so it's all Pokemon that you can find in the Paldea, the Blueberry, and the Kitakami decks, as well as the Pokemon that you can transfer through Pokemon Home. And this meta has brought already so many creative team concepts. We saw over 120 unique Pokemon brought to the actual event. I think actually maybe it was even more than that, maybe something like 167. Gosh, I think it was 167 if I've got my math right. And with that, we had a lot of new Pokemon actually hit some of the top of the usage charts. Just to give you an idea of some of the more creative Pokemon that we ended up seeing, we saw Flamigo as a huge threat, Toedscruel, Galarian Weezing, Mousehold, Archaludon, Annihilate. We ended up seeing Scyther, a lot of Paldean Tauros, and just so many other Pokemon in between. I feel like in this format, almost anything can end up being viable as long as you give the Pokemon the right amount of training and just you're able to find the right way to slot it in on a team. We had a Hypno that ended up making day 2 of the tournament, and we also had 12 out of the 27 starter Pokemon actually get a chance to make a day 2 appearance as well. So there's so many open possibilities when it comes down to building this format, which makes it really exciting. Congratulations to Nicholas Morales, who ended up winning the Baltimore Regional Championships. They had an explosive finish with the Mousehold being able to get multiple population bomb KOs from full HP, as well as just being able to showcase the power of Stamina Archaludon next to Mousehold, and just so many other amazing aspects of the team.